Jack Powers. This is Chronicle number 40. You remember in Chronicle 39 I spoke about the transfer to FCI Fairton, the way that the government ripped me off for, a get out of jail deal. And, I was feeling frustrated and angry. I was getting into some fights and stuff in the unit. So the Bureau of Prisons was going to actually kick me out. It actually issued a memorandum that said as much. And then when I got to Fairton, the orderly had said, yeah, your clothes, or we've got boxes already with the labels on them with your name, and, you're gone anytime. I don't know if they just instructed him to say that later on. I thought maybe they might have just told him to try to keep me in line or something, right? Because guys will work like that. But at the time, I thought it was real. So I prepared this elaborate escape plan. Man, I'm going to do this. So Friday comes, right? Friday's the designated day. I'm going to do this. So, I just gather up little stuff through the day. I get a pair of tennis shoes that somebody left out in the yard. Guys will buy like 10 pair a month or something. Every time they go, they'll buy a new pair. So some of that gets left for like other dudes, right? They'll wear them a few times and then just leave them. So I grabbed those, I took them to my room so that the dog would have a different scent than mine. I washed all the sheets and blankets, everything, sprayed everything down with like a perfume disinfectant. You take the prayer oil and put some of it into a bottle with the disinfectant, shake it up and just spray it all around. And it'll kill whatever scent is in that room. I mean, I sprayed it heavily. So, I did a lot of things to get prepared, and then I went out. It was like, it was getting dark fairly early, but not too early. It might have been 7:30, 8 o'clock when I went out with my buddy to walk our rounds out around the track on that rec yard. And then we walked probably for about an hour, and we came in, and I think I already had the dummy set up in the bed. And I think when he went to go to his cell, because it was close to lockdown, he was just going to get some food, a little potatoes or something. He was going to heat up and then go back to his cell, and I was going to go to mine. It was our routine. So instead of me going to my cell, I just went back out on the yard. I told the dude, I was passing him, I remember telling him, yeah, I forgot my jacket out there. I forgot out there. So I went back out, and I'm alone out there, right? So I go around, I lift up the grate, and I get down in that, that little pit there, right? It's wide enough for my body. It's long enough. It's deep, too. It's about 3 feet deep. It's got some trash and shit in there, It's people were smoking back then all the time, throwing their butts and stuff. So about an hour later, here comes the guards. They're coming out to make their rounds. So they stop right there, right over the grate just about. And they're standing right here, right above me. And they're talking and they're smoking cigarettes and flicking their ashes in the grate. And then they finally, after about 5 or 10 minutes, they just turn, flick their cigarette down. One of them landed right on my chest. I shit you not. It landed right on my chest, and I picked it up and took a puff off of it. It was funny as shit. But they went back in and locked the door. Now I'm out of the unit. I'm in this enclosed rec area. So now I've got to get up to that beam. I've got to get 20 feet up there. So I've got my boots, my brogans. They're heavy too, steel toe. I've got several shirts on. I've got several pair of pants. So I just take those and I start tying them together really tight to make, those khakis are pretty tough, right? They're made well. So make a nice rope out of it, tie the boot on the end, phew, up and over, all right? So I lock it in, I get the boot locked up there, right? I think the boot actually went around that that one, I think I had to throw it twice or three times, but I got it up there around that thing, and then I took the rest of it and just wrapped the boot and pulled it tight, and the boot caught up. So I was able to climb up there. Climbed right up there. Got right up on that beam. Now there's a series of beams, so I have to walk between them because there's this fence right overhead, right? And I'm squatting down too. So I get way over to the corner, way over, and I had to pass windows. There's windows, cell windows, that look out right out into that rec yard. They're right there, a whole line of them. And there's prisoners right there, you know, government witnesses. You think if they see somebody go crawling past their window, they ain't gonna fucking tell? Yeah, you're gonna be in big trouble. So I had to avoid all that shit. Got way over in the corner finally. And then I saw this little thing in the corner where I had these nail clippers, and I just grabbed a hold of the wire and bent it. And then I bent it this way, bent it that way, bent it this way, bent it that way. You know, and as I bent it and pulled it through, it started opening up that fence. So I was able to get through. I was able to climb up through the fence. And now I'm on top of the roofs, right? I'm up over the compound, man. I mean, I'm up there quite high, actually. Or at least I thought I was. And I'm looking around, man, and there's all the lights to the compound, and I can see the trucks going around, you know, the perimeter trucks, and the wind is blowing. It's like nice, fresh, clean air coming right off of the ocean and right off of those pine trees surrounding that prison. I mean, it was like, oh man. And then I jumped down from there. I went back down to the regular roof. That's the roof over the unit, but it opens like that in the front. It's got like a half moon or a half circle in the front. So I could stand right there and watch. I stood right there and watched inside the unit, the activities going on. Officers going around locking all the doors. I saw him when he looked in my cell. My cell was right at the top range, right at the last one on the right hand side. I saw the guy hitting the windows, locking the doors. He went to mine, hit it, locked the door, kept going. Didn't miss a beat. I'm like, gee, got it. But now I've got a different thing going on, right? I gotta move. I can't just sit there. I've gotta move. I've gotta go for this. So my plan, as I said, was to go down on this other roof. I had to jump down a couple more roofs to get to the roof that intersected the fence. The fence went up and over this roof, right? It's a visiting room, our visiting room. And, you know, people come in and out that door right there. There's a different parking lot. It's a special parking lot, but the fence just goes up and over that building. So I guess to make it easy for people to get in and out, you know, FBI, Marshal, whatever, right? You got to have an open front or something. I wouldn't have designed it that way. But that being said, I jumped down on that roof. There's a little like vent thing, like a cupola. I go over and I look down in there and I can see in the visiting room. It's Friday night now. Nobody's visiting. But I see a pair of feet down there, just crossed. And it looked like I couldn't see. It was a guard, for sure. But it was just somebody sitting in a chair, one of the visiting room chairs, just sleeping. I could hear him snoring. So I'm like, shit, man. So I have these FedEx boxes that I brought with me. I grabbed those from the postal area, right, in the unit. And I had tape, clear packing tape. So I put those around my arms. I put them around my chest, put them around my legs. And I went over to the corner and I kind of got the trajectory. I walked it like 2 or 3 times from the corner to that corner. And from the corner where the fence intersected the roof, right up close, I had to get up. I had to hit this other part of the roof it's not the roof proper, but it's the edging around, the taller part around the edges. I knew I had to get my foot up on that and launch from that in order to clear this Constantine wire, this razor wire on the top of this first fence. So I knew I wasn't going to clear both of them. Originally, I had this big idea that I was going to get running so fast and jump so far and so hard that I was just going to clear them both. And I guess just keep right on running. Reality wasn't that way. But I went back to the far corner of the roof. I just got it run and start. I said to myself, because it was like one question, right? One question. Right now, you could turn back. Right now, you could turn back because you could go back there and you could hide back in the grate. And when they open up in the morning for breakfast and open those doors, you just come back in. Just come back into the unit after they open all the doors and everything. Just walk back inside, like you just went out there for a little morning fresh air or something. So there was a question. Because if I make this leap, number one, I can get really hurt or killed. Number two, there's no turning back then. And the other considerations are, you could get hurt, you could get killed, you could get shot, you could get caught. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen, right? Against, hey, let's just go back in where it's comfortable. I got a bed, it ain't that bad. I can ride this out. Maybe they won't transfer me, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I just had to say, no, I'm here. I'm going to do this. So I just turned at a dead run, just took off at a sprint for that corner. Just boom, hit the corner perfect, jumped up, flew through the air, right over the fence, right over the razor wire, everything. I come down right between the two fences. Boom! Right on my ass. That's what broke my fall. And it really rattled me. It really, it was a hard jolt. But it was made less of a hard jolt because there were like rocks, gravel and stuff. And, I kind of slid on some of that stuff. But that's how stretched out I had to be to make that jump. That's how what it took to make it. So now I'm like, boom, and I'm right here, and here's the razor wire right to the side of me, just rolls and rolls and rolls of it, and the fences, right? I'm right between them. Lights are on and everything, and I'm like, oh shit, man, because I know that they've got motion sensors on the fences and in the ground. So I'm like, oh fuck, man, they're gonna be here any minute. So I crawl over. I try to stay low and I crawl over against the wall, right, where that fence meets the actual building. I crawl over against that wall right there and I just hunker down for a minute. And then I said, fuck, I gotta go. I gotta get through this stuff. And it was easier to get the steps up closer to the wall. Like in the middle, I wouldn't have been able to do it like in just the middle of razor wire. You'd have nowhere to grab, nowhere to hold really, except the wire going through it, and that's subject to break away, right? And then you just fall into the razor wire, a whole ocean of it. And you're gonna die. When you're going through that razor wire, there's, I don't know how many rolls. There's at least 6 rolls across the bottom, followed by 5, followed by 4, followed by 3, followed by 2, followed by 1, whatever it is. There's at least 6 rolls across that bottom. And then 14 feet high. So yeah, you're really going through a mess. And those boxes, they just, I used the wall, and I used the wires, because they were bolted to the wall, or screwed to the wall. And I got right up. I remember getting right to the top. And right as I got to the top, that wire I was standing on started to give way. And I started to fall backward, and I only had a hold of the top wire, not the fence itself. So I started to fall backwards, man. And I was like, oh my God. And somehow I just rolled my shoulder and hand forward and just grabbed the top of that fence. And then, you know, I was up and over, and didn't even, just came right down on the other side without, you know, grabbing the fence or anything. Boom. Just rolled, got up, ran straight across the little parking lot was a semi truck. And so I got behind that and I took off the FedEx boxes and everything, and got ready to take off again, you know, into the woods. So that's what I'll tell you about in Chronicle number 41. I'll tell you about this this great escape and the manhunts and everything else that came behind it. Yeah, it's real. So I'll see you again for 41.